Today I will show you how to transfer files with SCP. We are going to log in with SSH and then transfer files back and forth a Linux and Windows machine. Let's do it! Have you tried turning it off and on again? Alright, so I'm on my desktop. I have two PowerShell windows open. You can actually use PowerShell to SSH into your machines. So you need to have OpenSSH server on your Windows and Linux machine. And yeah, for Windows you need Windows 10 and 2019 and even 2025 server. It's installed by default. But we can use Test-NetConnection towards the IP or DNS name and dash port 22 to check if we have connection to make the SSH connection towards the server. So on the left I will have a connection towards my Windows machine, and here in the right window we have another IP address, and we can do TNC, which is the alias for Test-NetConnection. And let's see if we also have a TCP test succeed true here. We actually do. So both these machines have SSH enabled, so we should be able to log into them with our credentials. Let's start with connecting to the Windows machine. So SSH, my username on this machine is wintest at, and the IP address that we just tested. So then it will prompt for the password. I will put in my password right here. And yeah, okay, so we are in on the Windows machine. To the left, let's make the same SSH connection but to the Linux machine on the right. So SSH, and here my username is Linux test on this machine at the IP address, and it asks for the password. And here we can see the Ubuntu message of the day screen. Alright, so let's clear the screen. Let's do a clear on the Ubuntu, and let's do a CLS for clear on the Windows machine. So I have prepared a file and a folder with some files on this Windows machine. So here in C:test we do there, and we can see I have a rather large ISO file. That's about 787 megabytes, and I have a folder with some just random Windows files in it. So how do we transfer these folder and file to the Linux machine? We do SCP, then we do the file first, so we can do file.iso, and then we do Linux test at, and we do the IP address followed by the path where we want to put it. So you do :/ and we can make it land in the home Linux test directory. And if we do a working directory, we can see that it's actually home Linux test, and ls it's empty. So if we transfer this, it will ask us for the password. So we put in the password for the Linux machine. And here you can see it actually starts its transfer. About 90 megabytes per second, and there it's done. If we do an ls again, we can see that the file got transferred to the Linux machine. So here is the file.iso. Okay, so now we will do the folder, and in this folder we have some subfolder and also a lot of files. So we are going to do what's called a recursive transfer, and we do scp-r followed by the folder name, and then the same syntax as we did before. So we can copy that one if we want it to the target to be the same as before, and that's okay for now. It asks us for the password, so I fill in the password, and here we can see it's just very small files. So it should now be a folder here, in the Linux machine, and it is. Okay, so we have transferred the files and the folder and its contents, and we can also see a subfolder there. Okay, so let's transfer them back. And to make sure everything works out fine, we are going to remove these files from the Windows machine so that we can see that these are actually new files. So I'm going to remove this directory called folder and all its subfolders. And I'm also going to delete the ISO file. So this test folder should now be completely empty, and it's empty. So now we are going to transfer the files from the Linux machine to the Windows machine. And it's the same syntax, you just have to be a bit careful about the slashes, because we do the same command, we do SCP-R, so we are starting with the folder here. And you can start to type the folder and hit tab if you're unsure with the syntax. Then we do WinTest to authenticate towards the Windows server at the IP address, and here you put :C:, and /, so not the common Windows backslashes for the folder. So :/test, and then you put in the password, and the files got transferred. If we do a dir on the Windows machine, we can see the folder popped up. So now we are going to transfer the file, and this transfer we are going to do a verbose transfer, and this is very good. If you get some hiccups on your transfer, it's gonna show you the debug during the whole transfer, so you can actually see if something is going wrong, or when something is going wrong rather, you can see what it is. So if we do scp-b file.iso and then WinTest at the IP address :C:, and here we can do a different kind of character for the test, both capital and minor ones. It doesn't matter, but the slashes do matter. And here we can see on the debug for the SSH connection, it shows us everything. But this time it went fine, and here we can see the transfer has started. So no problem at all. But if we, for example, type the target directory wrong, like this, we put a lot of T's in the end, it still asks us for the password for authentication, but here you can actually see that no such file or directory, destination, no such file or directory, failed to upload the file. So that's great for troubleshooting. And yeah, that was pretty much it for transferring files back and forth with SCP. So if you like this video, please leave a like and remember to subscribe to the channel. And if you want to transfer files with SFTP, watch this video instead. Bye bye!